For our acceleration lab, let's assume that we have our data already saved in our Google Drive, whether you emailed it to yourself or whether you saved it directly into the Google Drive and then shared it with your partners. Doesn't really matter how it's in there. Let's just assume that it's in there. Now, I'm going to import it into my spreadsheet so that I can plot a graph. And how I'm going to do that is by clicking on File, click on Import, and then I want to most likely click on Recent. The tab up here that says Recent will most likely have your data listed at the top because it's the most recent file that was added to your Google Drive. Check that. If it's there, great. If it's not, then you're going to have to find the folder it's in. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click Select, and then it's going to ask me, it's going to give me all these options for importing. If you remember last time, we want to append rows to current sheet, and then keep the bottom one as it already is, detect automatically. Click Import. You're going to get a whole bunch of data appearing here soon, most of which you want to delete. So what I'm going to do is click on the headings here, right? The columns A, B, C, D, and so on. Click on the headings, scroll over to delete all of those columns. Now you can see that I have 3 columns left. Now, watch carefully what I'm about to do. This is not my actual data that I'm going to use yet. It's not the data that's going to appear in my write-up yet. What I want to do is see, first of all, what data I have to delete. Because clearly there was some points at the beginning and the end that I want to delete based on when the motion sensor lost the cart and when you started recording data before the motion sensor, before the cart was moving, and so on. So here's what I want to do. I want to plot a velocity time graph. Now the easiest way to plot a velocity time graph, the first column and the third column, is to make it the first column and the second column. And you're going to do that by clicking column A, Control C, go over here to another column, Control V, paste it. And do the same thing for column C, Control C, go over here, Control V, paste it. Now I've got 2 tables, time, position, velocity, which is really my important table, but time and velocity, which is going to allow me to easily plot that velocity time graph. Let's do that. Let's highlight all of my data here, all of my data on my velocity timetable. Click Insert, click Chart, and remember to insert a scatter plot. So you're going to have to go under Chart Types, scroll down to Scatterplot. And you can see that when I do that, I get a bunch of data that is, after I insert it, I get a bunch of data that is clearly irrelevant. So it looks like I want to delete data from about 0.7 seconds on, or up to 0.7 seconds. So watch this. If I highlight the rows up to 0.7, then it's going to delete that data from both tables. Right click, which on your Mac or on your Chromebook is actually touch with 2 fingers. When I say right click, it's touch with 2 fingers. Right click, delete those rows. Okay, that looks better. See that? Now let's delete the data at the end that's irrelevant. Looks like from about 1.8, 1.9 seconds on, the motion sensor had lost the cart. So let's scroll down here to about 1.9 seconds. Highlight the entire rows, scroll all the way down. Let's right-click that and delete those rows. Now let's scroll back up to my graph. Looks like I still have maybe a couple points there that at the end that aren't really good, so let's delete the last 3 points. You could probably get away without that one, but let's do it anyways. Right-click, scroll down to delete those rows. Now I got a velocity time graph that looks like this. And this is good, right? Because our velocity time graph, we want it to be a straight line sloping upwards. Okay, you got to do your thing with this graph now. Make sure you insert a title. Make sure it's y-axis versus x-axis. Make sure you label your axes. Make sure you put your units in. And then copy and paste it over into your lab. Now you want to plot your position time graph You've already got your data here for position time graph. You don't need to worry about deleting anything because you already deleted the irrelevant data. Does that make sense? Position time graph, you don't need to create a new table because it's already the first two columns. Now, when you go to write this up, what I would do is highlight all three of these columns. Forget about the second table now. Highlight all three of these columns, copy it, and then literally paste it into the data section of your document. Right? Is that clear?